If you want to unlock the muscle up after 35, you need a plan. You can't just go and try doing muscle ups 5 or 6 days a week without any accessory work. This can work if you're a teenager or in your early 20s, but this is why most muscle up advice out there is unrealistic and maybe even dangerous for you. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the process of learning the strict muscle up as a grown-up step by step. And the first thing you need to understand is that a keeping muscle up and a strict muscle up are two different things. One is mostly technique, the other is mostly strength. Some people can do 10 keeping muscle ups and can't even do 10 strict pull-ups because it doesn't require that much strength. But I think what's most important when you train the muscle up is the strength and mobility you have to build to get there, especially strength in your elbow tendon and ligaments and shoulder mobility. And if you think doing a keeping muscle up is cool enough, well, think again. It may be cool, I won't argue with that, but it's not safe. If you swing and fail your keeping muscle up and end up with your elbows in an awkward position, you could seriously hurt yourself and be forced to stop training for months. Now, there's only one way to build joint strength safely as a grown-up, and it's by going step by step. The fastest way to reach your goals is the slow and patient way, and I'm gonna show you what it means now. So let's start with the first part of the muscle up, which is the pull-up. If you really want to get there faster, then you should wait until you can do 10 clean pull-ups before you even attempt a muscle up. Why? Because if you don't build the foundations properly, there's always going to be a point where you get stuck. And it's much harder to build the basics when you've built bad habits. So every time you try training above your level, you're slowing down your progress. Once you're able to do 10 clean pull-ups, you can start training explosive pull-ups. You should start with 3 sets of 3 to 5 explosive pull-ups, but you should stop your set as soon as you feel like you're not going as high as in the beginning of the set. Whatever you do, you're training your body to do it. So if you do half explosive pull-ups, that's what you're training your body to do. And you want to train your body to go as high as possible. So make sure each of these reps are the highest you can go. Adding weight can help you with this process, especially if you use a contrast method. You would start with weighted pull-ups for a few sets and then do explosive pull-ups without weight. Now, the second part of your training consists in training the third part of the muscle up. So you train the dip, the third part of the muscle up, before you train the transition, the second part. And you'll understand why in a minute. First, you'll start by training regular dips until you can do 15 clean ones. What I like to do when I master an exercise like this is, before I move on to the next progression, I try to master it on the rings. This is to make sure my stabilizers get strong enough to support the bigger muscles before I use heavier loads. And you know your stabilizers have caught up when you stop shaking on the rings. The next thing you'll do is straight bar dips with your arms going down at 90 degrees. Once you can do 10 of these, you can do low bar dips. You'll start with negative straight bar dips, going as slowly as you can. And once you can do this comfortably, you'll do straight bar dips and touch the chest to the bar. Once you can do this comfortably for maybe 10 reps, you'll try and bring your neck to the bar and then push back up. And this is your first taste of what a strict transition feels like. Now, this is when you're ready for the third part of your training, the transition. At this stage, you'll keep training explosive pull-ups on your pull day, low straight bar dips on your push day, and you'll add transition exercises to your routine, either on a separate day or at the beginning of your push day. And this part of your training will start with triceps push-ups. Once you can do 15, you can move on to tiger push-ups. Once you can do 15 tiger push-ups, you can move on to negative Russian dips, and then Russian dips, and finally this kind of strict Russian dip, where it's like a Russian dip but without the momentum. Once you can do 5 of these strict Russian dips, you can probably do a transition. But it's very important to keep taking care of these elbow tendons and to keep strengthening them, to not skip steps. And if you want to be extra safe, you can even add internal and external rotations to your warm-ups and your cool-downs. Another exercise that can help is triceps push-down, which you can do with a band or a cable machine. So although you can probably do the transition, I recommend you keep training them with harder variations like bended transition reps and eventually transitions without the bend. If you keep doing these as accessory work, your transition is going to become stronger and stronger. At first, you'll be able to do a strict muscle up in one quick move, but later you'll be so strong, you'll be able to do a muscle up from a pull-up hold position. When you can do this, you'll know your elbows are really strong, and that is a very safe place to be, and something you want to aim at. Now I want to finish with 3 important points. At any point in this journey, if you feel tendon pain, don't ignore it. Rest a lot and go back to rehab exercises if needed. The second point is don't overtrain. Demanding skills like a strict muscle up require less volume and more rest. Even just one pull day, one push day, and one transition and mobility day will be enough. Two of each is definitely too much. And remember, you still need time to train your legs. And the third important point is, I've already said it, but be patient. Don't try to rush things, don't skip steps, and always train at your level. Always remember that trying to train at an intensity that's too high always have the opposite effect of what you're trying to do. It slows down your progress. And that's all for the strict muscle up after 35. And if you want more help to get started with calisthenics in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, just check the link in the description for a free starter guide and 36 lessons. What skill should I break down next? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.